This is Oscar the Lawyer. You're listening to the LANCESCURV Show.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
A lot of things, so we're gonna just jump right into it. I have some footage that is old footage that will back up my claims that I want to show you, but I want to just read out a guideline first so you can understand what it is that I'm talking about. And it really shows proof of me backing up these claims, because people always sometimes online get on and want to feel important and want to feel everybody's watching them and the government's watching me and people follow behind them. But I'm going to prove to you certain things that maybe you didn't dig deep enough when I mentioned certain things to know exactly what it is. I'm going to explain certain incidents that may insult a few people who come up here sneaky watching, but I know exactly who they are, and I'm going to spell it out, and I'm going to re-insult these people again. Anyway, you know how I do, right? Let me read this particular few words out. It's 6 points that I want to make, just so we're on the same page. It's not going to take too long, so don't run because you think I'm just going to read out a whole lot of stuff, but we must come to the understanding of what it is. And this is not just relegated to the FBI, but this is going to speak about factions beyond, and I will prove that also. But I'm going to read out what the FBI is all about when they talk about informants, right? The Federal Bureau of Investigation employs various strategies to recruit informants and gather information on targeted groups and individuals. While the specific techniques and methods may vary, here are some common approaches used by the FBI. Number one, these are the ones who like to come hang around me. Confidential informants. The FBI often relies on confidential informants who provide information on criminal activities. And I have to say, it's not just criminal activities. Confidential informants can be individuals who have inside knowledge of a targeted group or individuals involved in criminal activities. The FBI establishes relationships with them and uses their information to further investigations. Let me know how the sound is, if the sound's good. I hope you're hearing me good. Let me just know in the chat room. I forgot to ask you that. Let me know. Just hit me back with that. I'm going to continue to read on. I guess there's no problem because you would have said something. I just want to welcome everybody in who's here so far. Master Glam, Chrissy Hutchinson. I just see you there, and I thank you for your kind words. Yes. Okay, thank you, Chrissy. It sounds good. Woo, I thought it was messed up for a second. I had to start all over again. Okay. With the confidential informants, there's one more sentence. The FBI establishes relationships with them and uses their information to further investigations. Number two, cooperative witnesses. In certain cases, individuals with knowledge of criminal activities may be willing to cooperate with the FBI as witnesses. They may have personal or professional connections to the targeted group or individuals and offer valuable insights or evidence. Number three, undercover operatives, right? The FBI conducts undercover operations to infiltrate targeted groups. This involves agents assuming false identities and establishing trust within a group to gather information firsthand. Undercover agents may gather evidence through surveillance, participating in illegal activities within limits, or developing relationships with key members. Number four, proactive recruiting. The FBI actively seeks out individuals who may have access to valuable information. They may approach individuals already involved in criminal activities or those who have affiliations with targeted groups. This proactive recruiting can involve building trust, providing incentives, or leveraging existing relationships. Exploiting vulnerabilities is number five. The FBI may identify individuals within targeted groups who are vulnerable, such as those facing legal troubles or seeking protection. By leveraging these vulnerabilities, the FBI can convince them to provide information in exchange for leniency or other benefits. Number six, public outreach. The FBI also relies on public outreach to encourage individuals to come forward with information voluntarily. This can involve campaigns, hotlines, or targeted communities to specific communities or individuals who may have relevant information. It is important to note that the recruitment of informants by the FBI is subject to legal and ethical guidelines. The use of informants must adhere to the rules and regulations established by the FBI and within the boundaries of the law, which I think is complete bullshit. Okay, they go to people who are already involved in crime, reach out to them. You know, you got a case going on. And look, you get the information for us and we can cut this so we can reduce the sentence so we can wipe it out. Or we'll go through the motions of a case where you're sentenced to a large amount of time. But then when we walk you through cuffed, it's only a matter of time before you're set free. You can be sought out by enemies in your trade, the drug trade or whatever you do, right? And they're looking to kill you. And so the FBI will reach out to you and say, hey, we can get you away from where you live. We can give you plastic surgery and we can have you live a new life in the new country. Or you can have some kind of legal debt or financial debt. You can owe a whole lot of child support. And they say, hey, you move to this next country and live near this person. We can give you leniency if you give us information. That's a very, very common thing. We can set you up with a whole new life. But you got to watch these people and see what they're doing. There you go. That's how it works. Just want to say that it was very strange when I first came out here to Ghana that a person who claimed to be so broke, working and not having enough bills, enough money to pay their bills, months later when we came out here to a 5-star hotel and was asking people about me. Where do I live? You know, where does he do his thing? Kind of what area does he live in? You talk to me in the chat room, but you can't say nothing to me. Then somebody else who has been acting shady calls me and says, hey, let's do a video. And this person is there. That doesn't look right. Where'd you get the money from? And why are you asking other people where I live in a different country? That's strange. But I have even more proof. There's lots of other things that have gone on in my life that let me know. Even before I left America, many people were asking me, well, when are you going to leave exactly? People not in the super inner circle, but in not the outer circle, but the circle just beyond, where maybe somebody in the inner circle went and said something to them. All of a sudden, where I was staying with a family member, Mr. SCURV's family, they wanted to come over. There was this mad urgency to want to come and meet with me. These are people that I already knew, right? And they were pressing it. Oh, I have this wonderful cake that I want to bring to you and your family. My wife baked it for me. Where do you live in that particular area? Where do you live? What's that all about? I've had people come into my home in Orlando before we sold it. And they've done little things that we found left behind. But I never told you all that. See, so I'm going to offer further proof, and I'm going to talk about a few things after that. But I want to play a video. OK, I want to play a video with a person who I'll hip you to this now. Let me see now. She was running for Congress. Wasn't the Senate, it was Congress. And it was a District 15 that she was running for Congress. And she called me out of nowhere. Her name is Loretta Miller. She has since died since then, right? And I'm not crying about that because she was definitely an agent. She was connected to Israeli intelligence, I think for about 40 years. Yeah, 40 years she was connected, and she had got out of that in 2002. And now she had resurfaced as a person who's running for Congress. And she called my show out of nowhere. I didn't know this chick from anywhere. She's a Jewish lady, ish, right? And so we had an interview, and I'm going to play a part of the interview. And it was strange to me why she was so persistent and wanting to have me or come on to the show that deals with Black people, right? And so she said, well, you know, you have a sizable following. And honestly, you know, I do want the black vote too. And I want them to know who I am. I said, okay, as a politician, it'll be interesting. She offered to speak on some humorous stories in the political inner circle. I didn't know this lady from Jack. She was one of those agents. Okay. And I'm going to play the conversation the moment or about a minute before it went south. This was a show that went on for 6 hours and 18 minutes, but 2 hours and 18 minutes or 2 hours and 20 minutes into it, this is where things went south. And it's because I asked her about reparations, and she went all the way around the world with her answer. And I kept pressing until she had no choice but to hang up. And she used every conceivable trick that they use when they whine and they cry and they say how they had it so bad, but I wouldn't let up off of her ass. I hope she turns in her grave knowing that I'm playing this again. This is how much I love the woman, right? Okay, so here we go. Here we go. Let's play this, and let me remove this banner. And let me just say greetings to, oh, wow, so many people came in the room. Wow. Dami, let me see who else. I know I see Sister Oyala. Welcome, my beautiful sister. Blue skies. I love all those blue butterflies around you. And let me see what else. Let me slide on down. Neffy, I see you, Neffy. Anyway, yeah. Okay, here we're gonna play this thing. Let me get this thing going, y'all. And just let me know if the audio's good. I'm gonna play it. This is about 2 minutes before everything went left. Everything was going fine, and this was about 2 minutes before everything went left. So just listen to it. She was even trying to act nice, but she was definitely an agent. If it wasn't for the U.S. government, it was somebody from out of the country. Now, I want to also say that this individual that I talked about before, who came out to Ghana, when he returned, he got with somebody else who flew me around all over the country. Remember when I went to Texas, right? But he never said, hey, I know this guy. And there were things about him that I found out that he was a fraud too, the original guy that flew me around. Unbelievable how I had so many people around me, and why? Little old me, little old bus driver. What's up with that? But I won't let up. They can't tell what it is that I want, because when people get around you, what do they want? They want either sex, status, or money. Sex, status, or money. What most people get, or a combination of all of that, or 2 out of the 3, if not just one. Sex, status, and money. So I didn't see it. Right. But then, because I'm connected to so many people over the years doing this every day, they couldn't figure out what it is that I want. I have been offered money to come to platforms that would muzzle me. I've been offered status to come to platforms that would blow me up and muzzle me. Right. And of course, in the inbox, there have been lots of offers for sex. And it wasn't just that I'm so good looking. I know there's something behind that. Maybe a few like me, but no way. So all of these people have dropped off the map. And this particular lady that I'm about to play, and I'm going to open up the banner in a second so you can see the show. It'll be a good little time. It'll be very, very interesting if you haven't heard this before. But I had to give you the backstory, and there's some other things that I want to play behind it, and some other things that I want to say behind it. But just don't think that because you work a regular job, or you have a regular life, which you may consider a nondescript regular life. It doesn't matter. If you're not looking to be famous, you don't mind just living a life where you have your family, your inner circle, you make your money, you pay your bills, and you're happy. You don't have to be a person who's famous for the FBI to watch you, or different groups to watch you. You could be associated with somebody who they feel is a threat. And the ones that they watch, I'm no threat. They watch me and I'm no threat, but they're worried about what I will become, because I haven't fallen for the traps of what they put out there. So my motivation is not sex, status, or money. Sex, status, or money. There's a whole lot of ways to get that without being a person coming on YouTube and speaking out of his heart, working a job when I was in America and doing this out of my heart for years, hours and hours a day. They just can't believe that somebody exists like that, because they know that many of the black YouTubers, and I'm focusing on black because this goes broader than that, but many of the black YouTubers, they want some of that. And they're front. There are a lot of ones that are act pro-black, and they up laying up with the white woman, or looking just to get money, or will get paid off, or they're getting paid off now and blown up now because later on they'll be used against us, and we trust them so much. And when they have a black YouTuber in their pocket like that, they'll allow them to blow up and do all these different things. But when the time comes, they got to turn on their people. And the bottom line with that also, they want to see who follows this person. They want to get older people to, yeah, pro-black this, right. And so they're watching you and logging you in. Enough of that. Let me play this show. Let me play it. Hold tight, y'all. I'll open up the screen.
That's fine.
No, but look. We have a lot of questions that were posed in the chat room. And we'll have it next time where we will take the calls.
They can see I have gone through hell.
Yeah, and look, this was the quick version. You know, like I said, this one is going to be the whole introductory thing for folks, so folks can get to know you and get a feel of your rhythm. So now when we come back, we're going to hit the ground running and go deeper. And
I'll get into politics. If you want me to get into politics, I'll be glad to.
Right, whatever you're comfortable with.
I'll be able to tell you what this scandal has done to Florida, which is absolutely nothing but what he hasn't done, and what has hurt Florida. And that's what hurts everybody.
Right.
Is what he's done, what he hasn't done, and what he did, and he has actually hurt Florida by not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And we need somebody who's going to take care of the poor, our veterans, disabled. I believe 100% in equal rights. I'm going to have every color you can possibly imagine in my office.
Oh, wait. Let me put in my bid right now. We spoke about that earlier.
Yes, I want you as my PR person, that you are going to be my spokesperson. That I absolutely love you. I mean, you're terrific.
Well, thank you. Now, you know, my head is big enough already, so it's like going to fill up this whole screen.
Well, that's okay, Phyllis, if you need to do that.
That was just a crazy joke. But
I know.
We're going to answer some really not like out of the way questions, but we're going to get down in it next time.
If they want to ask me about abortion, I don't believe that's anything to do with the government.
Okay.
So let's cut it out right there. If it's not in the Constitution, I don't want to know about it.
Okay. I'm going to ask you now, just before we go, so it shows I'm not running away from it. The question was posed in general. How do you feel about reparations?
Reparations.
For Black people in this country.
I mean, giving money back to them?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go back into history. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you what this country has done to the Jewish population as well as the Black population.
Mm-hmm.
When the Jews came over here, we were discriminated against just as much as the Black people, and there were blacks, and also there were Black people who owned slaves too. So we're going all the way back, way beyond 1776. Okay, when 1776 came, George Washington didn't have money to spend on the population for this army. So they went to a person by the name of Haim Solomon. And you can look this person up. Haim Solomon went and took the Jewish community, got all their silver, and gave it to Washington. Washington signed a thing to pay them back, and we haven't gotten paid back. And they, for to be paid back. When Haim Solomon's wife died, She went to a person by the name of Morris, and she came with a note, and she said, I have no money. I'm a widow. I'm poor. I would like to have some of my money back that we paid in towards this country. Solomon was told, the wife was told, to go back home and come back the next day. When she came back the next day, Morris said to her, "What note?" Okay? They bankrupt the Jewish population in America, and they also made them into servitude to the WASPs, quote WASPs, just as well as the black people were servitude in the in the South. I believe that yes, that the country has given land when the war was over to the slaves. They were given land from the slave. They were paid, but how much servitude are you going to get? How much do you really want? What do you want? I mean, the question is, how much longer is it going to take? When I bring up families were killed in Germany, and they tell me, well, you got paid for the servitude. Yeah, we got paid for the servitude. They ask me, how much more do you want? I don't know the answer to that. The answer would have to really be put through a congressional hearing what you want. What do you want? I'd be glad to put something through if we know how much it's going to be and what the end is going to be, because you can't keep giving and giving and giving and giving and giving, and there's no end to it. Because that's what I was told. Hello?
Okay,
is that a wrong answer? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's an answer from a different perspective, because
I have to look at it in the Jewish perspective, because I was just as much discriminated against, and especially from the fact that I'm an African American, because my family came from Egypt. So my family was murdered in Egypt. They were murdered walking through the Islamic lands all the way to Spain. They were murdered by the Christians in Spain. They were enslaved when they came here because they were servants. So how much money do I say I want servitude for my family working for nothing, and restitution for my family for working for nothing, for Christians who refuse to pay my family because they lived in their house?
I understand. But you see, let's just put it this way. You being a Jewish woman and me being a black man, we're going to have different perspectives, because the black nation doesn't receive anything today.
Are you talking about American black nation, or are you talking about African black nation? Because if you went back to Africa, let's say if you decide you pick up, I know what Africans like. If you decide to pick up and go to Africa, how much discrimination do you think you're going to get there?
Okay, let me just say, Africa is inhabited by many Chinese, British. Everybody's going over there. Mm-hmm. The black nations outside of Africa are very much discouraged from going there, because they're told that it's nothing there, it's mud huts and everything else. But many people are moving over there because of resources and their I understand of the leaders in the countries there are selling out.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, but let me finish.
A lot of countries are living there, but they're also bringing over Americans, white Americans, into Africa, and white Americans are living there wonderfully until they get killed by the terrorists that decide to invade those countries.
Terrorists, like from where?
you have a lot of terrorists there.
Oh no, but okay, we'll freeze that point. I just want to come back to the other point.
America,
But let me just take a 90 seconds and say something. That what price would you put on a person losing their religion, their culture, their God, their language, their identity, for not 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, 400 or 500 years, roundabout there. And now we don't have land. Anyone who desires to have any power in this world must have a land base, must have a military force, and where there have been many places all over the world where land has been afforded, carved out. See, we don't have that. We are told that, Japanese get, Jewish get to this day.
Wait a second.
Israel.
Wait a second. Israel was taken away from us close to 2,000 years ago. It was taken away. Israel.
Well, I mean, we can split hairs on how the history has been manipulated as to who, when we say Hasidic, when we say Israelites.
The Jewish population occupied a lot of land in Hebron, but they didn't own it. See, there's a big difference. We occupied it. We occupied homes in Haifa, but we didn't own it. They occupied homes and sections in Jerusalem, but we didn't own it.
But
even though it was called the Jewish section.
Judaism a religion and not a race?
It's not a race. Israeli is a race. Judaism is a religion.
Israeli is a nationality.
Israeli is according to the Nazis, Israelis are a race.
Well, Nazis are off the knocker anyway, mentally, so we can't use that as a reputable source.
I'm Semitic.
Well,
okay.
In my background, I'm Semitic also. So welcome, cousin.
My brother.
Yes, exactly.
I'm also African American. So
well, Africa is a country. I mean, it's a continent, and there are countries there. So you could be. I mean, but when you say that, many people would think something else.
My family. Where is Egypt? Egypt's in Africa. Right?
Yes, it is. And see,
my family came from Africa.
Well, there are many white people in Africa and other races in Africa, but as a black man, right?
My family was there for close to.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing.
1,000 years.
We have people who split. We do wordplay, and we split hairs. It's like the new term now, and I've done videos on it. How many people are using the term biracial? It wasn't used before when the white slave masters were impregnating the slaves against their will.
Listen, my family was raped by the Crusades. I could be biracial.
Most definitely, you probably are. Most of us are.
Right.
But if I rob a bank now, right, they're not going to say a 5'10", 225-pound biracial man. You see what I mean? The terminology will be much different when it comes to the fear factor of my appearance.
They ask me what my race is. I put down other.
Well, you can do that, but then we all have to put other. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, what do we see when we look through our eyes at people and we whisper behind closed doors?
I see a human being, and I determine whether the human being is good or they're bad. I don't.
But see, I wish more people were like you, because my Holocaust and down through my bloodline leaves me not knowing past a few certain generations who my family is. And I've been lucky and blessed to find that out through somebody who did extensive genealogy without the DNA, but I want to get that done too. But what I'm saying is that
DNA.
Excuse me?
DNA. I can tell you where I know exactly where I'm from.
Right. But see, we lost all of that as Black people. We're in the psychological hurt and pain and damage that's been done. Really, there's no price put on it when you come to a country against your will. And many people will say, well, so many of your own sold you into slavery, but many of those who were sold into slavery were before 16 and younger, most, right? But
right.
but
they weren't. They were stolen. They were kidnapped
right.
out of Africa.
We're stolen Africans all through South America, Central America, the Caribbean, the Americas, all over the world. But then you have America the Great, that
believe it or not, they were
had free rent,
Muslims,
free labor for hundreds of years, and they benefit from this.
And they're still doing it.
No, yes, but understand me. They benefit anytime you give a person or a people hundreds of years of free labor, and they don't have to pay to be there. They better be successful. And then after they become successful, the psychological game that they play to tell others that we are nothing, but we are the tools that built this country.
Yes, you are.
You see what I mean? But we get no respect. We speak about Vietnam vets who went off to war for a couple of years, and we need to respect them, and they're homeless. But what about us who are displaced and we're trying to find our own identity? It wasn't but a few years ago we were called Black American, now African American, colored, Negro. We're feeling around like a person in the dark for a light switch to find our identity. And then we're so mixed up against each other.
And I was called Kike, and I was called Jaime, and I was called Christ Killer, and I was called a Jew cunt. I was called a few other things.
Yes, and I was called many things also, but I don't have a power base from which to derive anything from.
I don't have a power base either. I don't have a power base whatsoever. You think the Jews are going to stand up for me? No, they don't do that. They won't even stand up for themselves.
Well, so Black people don't stand up for themselves either. They've been taught to hate each other. You see,
and the Jews have been taught to.
The thing is, the bottom line is we can split hairs, but the bottom line is we need money, land, to control of our own and our own destiny.
Where do you want the land?
The southeast part of this country.
The southeast part, where?
Yes, I'm just throwing this out there.
Where
because
the southeast?
Because in the world, in history, it's been shown that
you are going to
land can be carved out anywhere and given to somebody.
But they have done that,
and they can do it here.
They did that after the Civil War.
For who?
For the slaves. They gave the land to the slaves. There was
but what
that got land.
There were some,
the Civil War.
but it's far minuscule, because if that's the case, many of the slaves who were set so-called free couldn't go too far. They had to turn around and come back to work for the same slave masters.
But they weren't slaves.
So you tell me, you have workers in 2018 who work at Disney and get paid nothing. They're slaves. They're modern day slaves.
That's right.
When you look at the system and how it sucks from our resources, when you look at the entertainment system, not system, but the entertainment world, let's just pick on that for a second. When you look at sports and look at football and who owns the teams and who are playing.
I'm going to pick on one little thing we are trying to, that we have to remember something. You may be Black. This one may be Chinese and Asian. I may be other. And someone else may be something else. But we were all born in America. We're all Americans. And we all have to change this situation, and we all have to do it together, and we cannot do it separate, and we cannot say this person has more and that person has more when we're trying to.
But we can't run away from the problem.
We can't,
because many in the Jewish community and many from Israel will say, we need to remember our history so we can do what? So we can never forget. But when it comes to Black people in America and beyond and all over the world, we're told, well, we're all American and this is it, and we need to forget and do it. No, when you go to court and you get a divorce, the assets are broken up. And how much did this person put in? And how much did that person put in? And let's break it down and part ways. Now, I have every right to be here.
Yes, you
Yes, I do, because my forebears and my father is from Jamaica. My mother is from here. But since the benefit has been ripped out of my bloodline for so long, hell, I deserve dual citizenship and some land here. Because, like I said, there should be no reason why.
Am I being reprimanded because
no, you're not being reprimanded. You're being taught a perspective that many people don't want to see.
But
you see,
I was not here during the Civil War.
But
I was not here when
you weren't here during the Civil War. But the beneficiaries of what happened during the Civil War and during slavery enjoy a privilege that I can never see.
My family were enslaved in Egypt. My family was enslaved by the Muslims in Egypt. My family had their village burnt down. My family had children killed in the streets. They left.
But you have Israel and you have a place to call home if you choose to do so. I have nowhere to go home. I have to deal with what's going on here.
It is not a place to call home with the government the way it is. And I went through the entire government situation.
See, now, right. I'm not taking that away from you. But all I'm saying is that we're not on an even playing field.
And when they stand in front of the Palestinians that are part of Hamas, they stand in front of you and they say, from the river to the sea does not mean that they're going to open up a resort town in Israel. What it means that we're going to slaughter you from the river to the sea. So that what we do is we fight every single day for our lives. So it's not a peaceful situation where we have to live the way we live. And when you're talking about slavery, well, slavery still is continuing in Saudi Arabia. You have it in
Libya. We have it in Libya right now.
You have it in Libya.
Of course we do. And I understand that because I think on a world scale. But what I'm trying to say is that what has happened still has an effect greatly on what it is now. Many people will say I wasn't around in slavery. You know, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, but what the great-grandfather did benefits the person now.
But
you see what I mean?
My family wasn't even in this country.
Okay, but look, all I'm saying is that.
Well, how come the blacks didn't help the Jews when we were
while we were enslaved
in Nazi Germany? How come I didn't see any coming in?
Okay, wait a second. We fought in every single war on the side of America from this country. Black people fought in every single war. There's no infrastructure. There's no place where we haven't defended America and gotten less treatment. So how could you say that? While we were being treated bad, we still fought for this country and came back to a treatment that was inhumane.
My father also fought in World War II. My husband was in Korea.
I don't doubt you.
We all
I don't doubt you
for this country, and my father still got called a goddamn Jew and a few other words. And if he got caught by the Nazis, if he was a war, if he was a prisoner of war, he would have gone to the concentration camps and hung. That's what they would do to my father. So where is my where is my money for my father getting frozen toes?
But wait a second.
Coming back.
If I can ask you, if I can ask you, doesn't Israel receive money every year from the government?
No.
They don't get anything?
They don't.
I have to fact check it, but I'm just maybe I thought that was the case.
I have that even on my site. Do you know that Egypt gets close to $2 billion? And you know what they do with the $2 billion?
Wait, but I was asking about Israel though.
Israel gets zero. We pay for everything. They pay for everything they
So Israel doesn't receive any money from the United States.
No money from the United States. They receive it from charities like what I said, don't give to the charities.
Okay.
That's where they receive the money from.
So Barack Obama, Donald Trump, these guys don't sign off, the Bushes.
Didn't give them a dime.
Okay. No, it's not confrontational. It's passion, because you're a passionate person and I'm a passionate person. and I know my walk in this country, and I know
my walk in this country also, and you have to see through not only your eyes, you have to see through other people's eyes.
Of course, but you know what it is though? Black people have always been expected to put down their pain in favor of somebody else's, but nobody deals with us. Nobody deals or speaks with us.
America, and when
you see what I mean?
America,
we're still looked at as a dirty, used tools that nobody wants to see and nobody wants to deal with after building the country. Throw the tools away and be demonized.
When Einstein came to America, he taught in a black college because none of the white colleges would take him.
Okay, let me ask you, who is going to speak out for black people? And when they do, why are they demonized in the so-called mainstream media? You see, and it's like a control thing because whenever you speak out, you're blackballed. You know, you're demonized.
I'm demonized too.
It just seems like this conversation has turned into a, well, I get this too. The thing, like I said, there is no...
This conversation got into a debate.
No, it's about facts. It's about our experiences. I don't look at it as a debate.
My mother walked with Martin Luther King. Okay, my mother and my father couldn't because he had the store he had to take care of. But my mother went.
That's well and good.
Martin Luther King.
But who is going to make sure that black people are empowered the way others are after having so much taken from us? See, now many of us are broken to the point where we're out of our minds and then we get blamed for that. Well, look at them. They're lazy. They're bums. They get welfare, but then nobody talks about the corporate welfare that has gotten all of these banks that have been built off of black labor, free black labor, all of this infrastructure.
I ask a question.
Yes.
Answer the question. Don't give me a lecture. What kind of power do you want?
We say empowered. Being empowered.
What kind of power do you want?
As far as I mean, power. Look, power, it has to be taken. If you look at history, those in power will never give it up and say, here's power. So it's not a matter of asking like you have it, but we do have what we built here in this country. And it's not a matter of asking for it. It is ours, just like everybody else. They use a term and say that we're all Americans, but the treatment is far different. So that hat trick can't be pulled over our eyes anymore. It's out all over the world.
Have I treated you different?
No, you treated me beautiful. We had beautiful conversation and we'll continue to do so. But
why are you reprimanding me?
You feel that way because of what I'm saying, but I'm not personally reprimand. See, you said, why are you reprimanding me? I'm not reprimanding you. I'm speaking what I know to be truth from my walk.
Really, that the conversation asking me what I believe that the reprimand I have to give you. What do you want? I don't know what you want because my family was in Egypt fighting off for their lives. When everybody else was in slavery, my family was in slavery too. There's a lot of people all throughout the world that has been in slavery.
See, this is not a black versus Jew conversation because I can't be against myself. You see what I mean? Because we are Israelites. We are the true Israelites of the world. We won't go there and try to split hairs. But that is the bottom line with the whole argument. You see?
It has all light, all white, it has all life, all kinds of life, all kinds of race, all kinds of...
Yes, I know that there are black people in Israel, and I know some personally, and they don't get treated too well. You see what I mean? What I'm saying is that...
Ethiopians?
But look. Show me... We know that the word ghetto was referring to where the Jews lived.
The ghettos of Israel?
And that's why I said the ghettos, exactly, right? But now, what is the state of the nation now? I see black neighborhoods that are downtrodden, going nowhere, politicians ripping them off, giving them promises that they never keep, right? And they're still like that. Look at Pine Hills, the way they're trying to demonize it.
Yelling at me.
I'm not yelling at you. I'm speaking firm and I'm speaking strong.
And you're speaking loudly. I have the phone way.
I'm not speaking any different than I spoke earlier. I cannot. I'm a man, sweetheart, and I walk upright. But the problem is so many people are used to a man looking down, talking soft and scared to express themselves, and I'm not made that way.
Well, I'm not made that way too. I'm Israeli, and I'm not made that way to take.
So why would you say I'm reprimanding you or I'm talking loud to you? Maybe you're not used to dealing with the type of person that I am. Maybe if I was effeminate and speaking soft with a little rouge and lipstick on, you'd like that.
And say, you're wrong.
Who's saying? I'm not saying you're wrong. I cannot tell you what your reality is, but don't tell me what mine is.
I don't tell you what your reality is.
January 26, 1989, I was pulled over for driving a brand new Buick Regal in Jamaica, Queens, in my neighborhood, because it was a so-called drug-infested neighborhood that profited the police greatly because they were selling drugs through people there. I was going to a store one night with some friends of mine because one of my friends, the mother didn't have anything in the house to cook for breakfast for her husband. So I volunteered and we went up there. I was beat by 11 cops, right? And thrown in jail and had charges put on me. See?
My house was blown up because I was a Jew. My lawn had a cross.
And I can say the same thing because I was pulled over and treated this way because I'm an original Israelite, that the world does not want that to know. That's the thing.
Is on my door when I lived in Philadelphia because of
but all I'm saying is that this makes us stronger, right? This makes us forge forward with the truth.
You're asking me, I want to be not reprimanded. I want money for what
you said you were reprimanded.
I did not. I will not. As far as I'm concerned, you want education in Israel. I want to tell you something about Israel. Israel, you know who gets free education? Not the Jews, the Muslims.
But see, you're saying Jews and Muslims, but Islam is a religion. Judaism is a religion.
No, the Palestinians who are Muslims get free education in Israel.
So if I move to Palestine, and get citizenship there, am I not a Palestinian?
Palestine.
Let's break it down as far as race is concerned, because the United States is so hung up on race.
Do you know who the original Palestinians are?
Who are they? Because look, they weren't white. They weren't transplanted white people.
Have you read the British Mandate?
They weren't Russian, Polish people put in that area and told that they were this.
I'm asking you a question. Have you read the British Mandate of 1940? 1940. Have you read that?
No, I have not read that.
Okay, what they classified as being Palestinians were the Jews. What they classified as Transjordians was the Arabs.
And they classified that. But what is the real truth?
The real truth is that Jews have lived there for years, and the Philistines were the ones who classified all Jews living in Israel as Palestinians.
Okay, so why is it that there's so much racism over there in Israel against the black people who are also Jews? You see, my thing is not about a religion. My thing is about the race, how we get treated because of that.
Let me finish. The racism is not by the Middle Eastern Jews, and it's not by the Jews that are Sephardic. The racism is by the Zionists that have moved into the area. And I was
can you tell me who the Khazarians are?
The feminist movement.
The feminist movement is what?
The feminist movement is the WIZOA.
Okay.
And they're also killing American Jews that are over there. They're also killing European Jews. They're killing Jews that are black. They're killing all kinds of everybody that's Jewish because they changed the laws. They changed the laws so they can have control over what's going on in the country, so they can control the country.
Yes.
If you go to Israel, I'll tell you what, I'll take you to Israel, and I'll bring you right into Israel. And then I'm going to go to a police officer and point to you, and you can be white, you can be black, you can be yellow, you can be polka dot, as long as you're a man. And I'll point to you and say, you sexually harassed me. You're arrested that day.
It's no different than over here. Emmett Till whistling to communicate.
There you don't get
look, it was misunderstood that he was whistling at a white woman and killed.
You are stuck there. There you were put in jail without even a trial.
The same here in America. But yet we're told we're Americans.
But what we're getting into right now is you have feminism that has taken over this country, and it's a total. Well,
look, feminism is part, from my point of view, feminism is part of a Eurocentric order that has nothing to do with Africans who are part of a communal order where we know our place and know our roles. The problem is with many Black Americans is that we've adopted another way of living, a Western way, civilization way of living, which is against.
Can you live African way of living? Have you ever lived in Africa?
I've never lived in Africa. I know many people who live in Africa, and hopefully in 2 years I will be living in Africa. But you know what? It's a state of mind, just the same way that I'm living in Florida, but I'm born and raised as a New Yorker, right? So in actuality, if you really look right now, okay, let me just finish what I'm saying because nobody's going to hear us talking over each other. I just want to say one thing. I am an African, and I am living very much African, a Black African here in Orlando, Florida. I have a Black African wife via Jamaica, and our practices are original, okay? We don't eat Western food. We don't think on a Western way. We don't pray to a Western God. Our whole total way of living is totally, we don't have to physically be in the land, number one, because we know who we are. See, I went through the educational system here, and many of the teachers got very angry when I would ask certain things beyond the curriculum that they didn't want us to know. You see what I mean? And I've had this type of way of communicating with those who were teachers in New York City, who many claim to be Jews. See, it was okay when you listened to the propaganda and spit back the answer and you got a high mark. I was brilliant at that, but I also knew better from what my parents told me that the American school system could never tell. This is why you might think that I'm speaking loud to you, but I'm speaking strong because I'm very rooted in who I am. And I have a whole lot more to learn.
You Jews that lived in New York City that treated you poorly, you're blaming all the Jews.
I'm not blaming anything. No, they would blame me for not thinking the way they want me to think.
All the Jews are blaming you for being African.
I never said that.
Yes, you did. You just said it.
I said they're blaming me for being African. I was born African.
Well,
look, you can't take a Chinaman born in America and say he's not a Chinaman.
Mothers who adopted Black babies, and they raised them as Jewish children.
Well, look,
and they adapted to Judaism very nicely.
Exactly, from your point of view, but you cannot have a dog raise a cat and the cat be a full cat. It cannot happen.
My dog was raised by a cat.
Say it again.
I had a dog and I had a cat before I got my dog. My dog was a puppy. The cat raised the dog. Yes, you can.
You cannot be fully who you are when you're raised by something else.
They were.
It's not going to happen.
In fact, my cat.
But look,
in fact, my dog.
We were raised in the American system as Black people here, but we're not what we originally were supposed to be. That's why we carry on like we do.
I was raised in a home that spoke only Arabic and Hebrew. And I was raised as a Egyptian Jew, and I grew up, and I went to Israel on a visit. I had no idea my mom was when she fought in the war in 1948. It was automatically with my father was automatically Israeli. When I went over there, I stayed 13 months too long. I was drafted into an army that I wasn't even part of the country, and I fought in the country. I fought 3 wars in that country. And I fought, and
that's wonderful. That's wonderful that you understand your history and you have a strong connection to it. But when we speak about the original inhabitant of the planet Earth, where everything came from, we have Masonic secret orders going on here. We have these Zionist secret orders going on here that don't want us to know who we are. That's the problem. We've got to face, we've got to face the real history here, not what's told to us.
That don't want you to know what's going on.
Now, listen, I'm going to ask you to continue talking. I'm going to say it this way. It's late at night. We're all adults. I got to take a leak. I'm going to come right back, but continue making your point because Many of the listeners are split, and many of them, this is stimulating. I love this. You know what I mean? So let's keep it going. But the body's calling me to go to the restroom. Continue on. I'm going to come right back.
There's a lot of people in America that were not here during the Civil War. They were not here until way after the Civil War. In fact, way after World War II. In fact, America did not permit the Jews to come into America until after, and they let only a few Jews into this country. There was a boat that went to Cuba that was turned away that was supposed to come to America filled with children. And what did the children have? Children committed no crime. They Germany. When I was living in Israel, I was discriminated against because I am not a European, or what they call Ashkenazi Jew. I'm a Middle Eastern Jew, and believe me, I was discriminated against. I treated everybody equal. No one was treated differently just because of the skin color of them, just because of their creed. I am human. You're human. Everyone's human. We all have to fight together to stop this type of crime that's being committed against everyone, not just blacks. It's everyone. And those that are terrorizing this country, those are terrorizing our people, and I consider black people our people. They have to be dealt with. That's where I come from. And you can say whatever you want to say.
I'm back.
That's fine. You can say whatever you want to say. You can say you want money for what happened to
No, I don't. No, listen. I didn't say just money, because the state of mind that many black people are in, if you give them money, they're going to give it back to everybody else anyway. I said reparations, which takes time. It took time for us to get into this condition, and it's going to take time for the restoration of the black mind and to teach us the true history and not a fake history which benefits others because we don't know who we are.
Walk through Central Park. I have friends that walk through Central Park today. In fact, I had one person. Now, here, I'm going to give you an example.
I know Central Park very well.
Wait a second. I'm going to give you an example. I have a friend who is a psychologist. Not a psychologist. He's a psychiatrist. He's blind. His wife is his eyes. Okay? He was leaving his office. This was the day before Christmas, or the Christmas Eve. I think it was Christmas Eve. He was grabbed. He was grabbed on the street. He was beaten. And it wasn't beaten by black people. He was beaten by white people because he refused to say Merry Christmas. He said season's greetings. And they beat him. Then they saw the wife, and they grabbed her, and they saw her Jewish star. And they pulled that off, spit in her face, threw her down, smacked her in the face, threw her down on the ground, and kicked her eyes in. And she's now blind. He's dead. She's blind. She had to bury her husband.
Okay, I understand that you're speaking on many individual situations that have happened to you in your life, as I have spoken about many individual situations that have happened to me in my life. But for me, I think beyond my own self, because it's evident all over the world of our displacement and how we've been used in our current Holocaust, which lives on to this day. Our current Holocaust. We have had things happen to us both in history, but currently we are on the bottom end of the totem pole in this world. The world uses us. Look, let's just again go to the entertainment industry. Who is it that dies with the entertainers' wealth in their pockets? Who are the people who are dying that have our wealth in their pockets? Who runs Hollywood? Who gets the first money from America? And who does America take care of? And we have people here who need taken care of after we built this place.
You're going to say the Jews, because that's what you want.
I'm asking a question. No, I'm asking a question. I'm talking about what's happening now in the current Holocaust in this country. when we go and are put on the front lines of a war that benefits somebody else on a corporate level.
His area. And what you're talking about is Weinstein, who happens to have raped a lot of women, not black, but also not only black, but also white. He's and you have
It doesn't surprise me, because we are a people who have been raped all our lives, all over the world by others.
What happened to us in the ghettos? What do you think happened to us? We got raped. We had our house.
Yes, and that is a fact. But guess what? What about the current time? Who is on the bottom of the totem pole now?
Excuse me. You go to.
This is what I say. The conversation that we have with anyone, unless it involves black empowerment, it is a conversation that we don't need to have.
Okay, let me talk. There's a city called Milano in Switzerland, and it used to be majority of it was Jewish. They moved out. They were moving out. Muslims moved in, and what's happening? Their synagogues are being burnt down. Their Jews are being beaten because they have yarmulkes on their heads. They can't walk down the streets. They can't live. People have taken them out of Switzerland, and they brought them out of to other countries because of the fact that there is such poorly treated. They're being poorly treated, being murdered, being beaten, being raped. That's okay, and their homes are being taken away from them. That's okay because they're Jews, and it's not. That doesn't count because they are Jews. It's only a black problem because this happened in America.
Have you ever heard of Black Wall Street? Have you ever heard of Black Wall Street? And let me ask you, why hasn't Black Wall Street been taught in schools when I was coming up?
I don't know why.
Well, I'd like to ask those Jewish teachers, Mrs. Finkelstein, Mrs. Goldstein, Mrs. Rubinow, Mrs. Druschel, who didn't like when my mother asked if the curriculum could be changed to reflect, because my mother was an educator. And Miss Druschel got in her face and said some very untimely things. You see, I have had a lot of experiences that make me aware of what's really going on. Now, what I want to ask you, Loretta, we want to have some callers call in. They want to call in, and I'm going to have to switch around the lines right now so we can have the callers call in, because
no, wait a second. Let me.
This is what I'm going to do. No, we can continue on, but I want to make the callers call in. The floodgates must be opened. Okay, this is what we're going to do. You can have a chance to express yourself, but we're going to switch the lines up, because when we did the show, we said we weren't going to have callers call in. No, calm down a little bit. We cool. We got all night long. I don't have to wake up until early in the morning, until later in the morning.
You're blaming Jews.
No, you're going on automatic, because you see, let me tell you something. When we cry, we're told to shut up as black people in this country. But when Jews bring up the Holocaust, which the numbers don't even match up, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we can talk. But when we talk about our pain and suffering, we're whining. So what if I said the same thing about you?
Excuse me, were your family taken to ditches and told to undress and shot?
Oh, my family there are women in my family who had knives dug in their stomach, and the pregnant babies tossed around as alligator bait. Dogs sicked on us, hung. Their family members that are hung.
And they did the same thing to the Jews.
And okay, but where are the Jews now in comparison to the black nations all over the world? See, I'm talking about right now. You can bring up instances of different things, but I'm talking about right now. After we have been used for our might and our talents and our abilities, there's not one place in this planet where we haven't mastered any area of expertise and served well, but get nothing from it. You see? So that's what I'm talking about. So that's why, in a sense, me being someone who is somewhat leaning toward separatism, because in a marriage, when you can't get along, you divorce. So when a divorce happens, let's see how much we put in so we can take it right back on out and build something for ourselves. Many are scared of doing that, but after a lifetime of certain types of treatment, when you see that you're born and now you get to a certain age and things never change, let's separate, because the planet is ours, and you know the true history. That's why when I said the first word that I said, reparations, it sounded like Ralph Cramden. Hamada, 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 hamada. And then it came on like this. But let me just say, I want to let some of the phone calls in. You're in directly on the line, so I'm going to have to switch a few things around.
No, I'm not, because what time is it?
Okay, well, what we're going to do, you can go to bed right now, but I'm going to open up the lines for the people who want to chime in. So you'll hear this on a recording afterward. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Because, see, I have my own independent studio, and I don't have to go to ABC, CBS, CNN, and ask these people who will cut me off in the middle of an interview. I can talk freely now. And the thing is, like the Cyndi Lauper song, remember that song? What was it? Back from 1982 or 83? I see your true colors shining through. This is what we were going to elect into office. So anyway, I'm going to tell everybody who is listening to hold tight. You need your beauty sleep. You need the rest. You got a lot going on. Go on and get your rest. And I'm going to open up the lines in a second for everybody else to call in. Okay? And then they'll be able to comment on all that they heard you say. Because I took a bathroom break. You could talk. And I was very much a gentleman from when we started the show. What time was it? About 10:20? It's 1:32 right now. And I could talk in my sleep and make sense. You know what I mean? But what we're going to do, we're going to open up these lines. And then what we're going to do is open these lines. We're going to have people chime in. So we've got to hang up from this. So if you're ready to hang up, I don't want to be rude, but you know, there are many people who do support me and understand that I represent them.
You hate Jews.
Okay, this is your automatic rhetoric, and this is why. No, but that talk doesn't scare me.
Very clear.
That it doesn't scare me, because the state that black people in there are a whole lot of people who hate black people too. And as soon as I said reparations, all of a sudden you started stuttering and you went into your automatic spiel. But this is where the clash is, because I am a strong black man who knows who I am. And I will not wilt to that rhetoric that you talk to keep yourself in power and cry pain. Because when my foot gets stuck with a nail and yours, it hurts just as much. I am no less than you. You understand? I am the original man of the planet Earth. I am the root and I am the trunk. All who have come behind me should not be ruling, and the time is up biblically and as far as everything else. Good. Now I don't have to get up to cut the phone off. And when I said that, she just hung up everybody. So anyway, give me a second, y'all. It's just me on the line. I'm going to call in. I got to make sure this thing is set up right. And I want everybody to call in and chime in. Just give me a second to set this up, y'all. Give me a second. I see your true colors shining through. Okay, now we got that first wing of it. Everybody can call in 888-575-3769. Let me connect. Okay, let me get rid of this one. Let me turn the sound down. I have it up so loud. This is me, the live version of LANCESCURV. That was 5.5 years ago in January of 2018. And it was something. It was something. Right after that, she dedicated her life, which didn't last but for 2 more years, I believe, to doxing me and my family. And just let me know if the sound is coming through fine. So yeah, let me know if the sound is coming through good. Yeah, I have short things to play afterward. And yeah, but see, I Muhammad Ali'd her. I could have smashed her in the first round. Now, for the street version of the word smash, that would never happen. I would never smash something looking like that. I had to say that. I had to say that, but let me know if the sound is coming through. Okay, you hear me. Good. Thanks, Neffy. That's when the shadow banning and the attacks intensified. I had already been put on blast 2 years before that when Brother Cosmo had killed those 3 cops, and I had interviewed him 3 weeks before, and every conceivable platform ran the story because I was a part of it, because I was one of the only people who talked to him. And Within the span of 5 minutes, every major, after it happened, news platform had contacted me, texted me, called me. And for 4 days or 3 days, I stayed up speaking on our brother and defending him. I'm not going to play that because you already know that one. If you don't know that one, let me know and I'll play it over. Maybe I should just throw it in there for I should just throw it in there. Let me throw it in there. Hold tight. This is going to be, it's only 90 seconds. Okay, it's only 90 seconds. And you all have seen this. This is all on the site and everything like that. So, okay, let me come back. I'll play this just to throw that in to show before this what I had gone through with that. And that really put me on the map and they erased everything. But just for the sake of the show, I know most have seen it. I'm just going to play it. Okay. And I'll open this up. I'll go and remove this and I'll continue talking after this is played. So there have been some instances where, okay, you could see it. Now let me go back and play this. Okay, here you go.
Joining me via Skype, I've got LANCESCURV, a blogger, radio host, friend of Gavin Long. Lance, you say you might have been able to stop him.
Yes. We had a wonderful connection when he came onto my show, the LANCESCURV show. Before that, he reached out to me in October of 2015. We had numerous phone calls in which we connected, and eventually on a whim, we pretty much did the show. I had my equipment here so I can do it like that. He seemed to be a person who was always on the move, not for any weird reason or any, he just wasn't settled. All I have to say is that he didn't seem like the kind of person who could do this. I couldn't imagine. Let me just add that at that particular point where you heard me go, I usually don't do that when I'm on the air on somebody else's program. They started speaking into the headphones at that point to even start to tell each other, the engineers, to cut it. And then Dr. Drew came at me with some other questions. And when he asked me about being a freedom fighter the night before this particular broadcast on Headline News, which is owned by CNN, they must have listened to it because I spoke in favor of Brother Cosmo. Of the 3 books that he wrote that were phenomenal after he came back from Africa and traveled all over, right? And see, they were trying to push this mental illness thing. He was brilliant, but he did have PTSD. But they just want to say mental illness, like he was just some nutcase. This guy was brilliant. He was mannerable. He was smart. And what he had to share with people, he made these books. He put it out on Amazon, right? But he also, and they took it down. They took it down from Amazon. After this, that's the real issue that they didn't want to speak about was his books. And I was going to speak about it. They didn't know. Well, they figured by what I said the night before. They listened to it because they were highly impressed with my social media work, the amount of work that I did day in and day out while working a job that I drove the bus for 11 hours a day and worked a side gig at night and still did 2 shows a day. They couldn't understand how a black man could do something like that. And I'm not out there. So they tried to compromise me before the show happened, right? Well, and they emailed me, and I'm going to see if I can pull up some of those old emails, right? I got to remember which email address it was, but they basically said, if you answer in a way that explains his story in a way that most would understand, we would like to have you come back on whenever we have matters like this happen. In other words, answer like a coon. We can make you famous if you come back. So they didn't like what I said the night before. It already had 8 minutes set up for me in this interview. 8 minutes is a long time for somebody to get an interview on a so-called mainstream media platform and who thinks like me. Once they discovered it, oh, how this guy really is, because they blew over everything. They saw the art, but they blew over it. They must not have looked at the right pieces, right? They looked over the whole website. They looked over the whole YouTube channel. Mind you, this is 2016. And actually it was July of 2016, right? Early July. And it was late May when we did the interview with Cosmo. This was one of the other reasons why they had to come at me. And it wasn't because they thought that I was some threat. It's because of the people that I showcased that they want to have buried in the mainstream media, and I would allow them to talk. There are countless, hundreds, if not thousands of people who have come onto the show, and I let them talk. Black people speaking their mind, speaking their story without censorship. That's what they didn't like about me. So when you heard me do these guys were in my ear. Cut them off, Harry. Cut them off. Shut it down. Tell them we have technical difficulties. And I'm listening to this thing, and I had to regroup and still come back and fight this man again with what he said. So I'm going to run that part back. Here we go.
We connected, and eventually on a whim, we pretty much did the show. I had my equipment here so I can do it like that. He seemed to be a person who was always on the move, not for any weird reason or any, he just wasn't settled. All I have to say is that he didn't seem like the kind of person who could do this. I couldn't imagine in all my years of life, after my type of connection with him, that he could do this. Since he did this, I said to myself, what happened to him from the time that I talked to him, because he was very open, until the time that he did this act.
You say he described himself as a freedom fighter. What did he mean?
Okay, when he described himself as a freedom fighter, the way I took it was a person who wanted to deal with the racism here in the country, the ignorance here in the country, the imagery of his people, you see. So he felt that he had knowledge that can help everyone here on a spiritual level, on a health and fitness level. Because if you look at us in America, most of us, we're not doing that good right now. The country's divided. And all I want to say to Horace, Brother Horace, who said that it was an evil act. Yes, I do not condone that at all. But we have to assume that when our troops come back from war, before they go, they're stripped down and built up to be killing machines. We say it's evil when he shot those 3 cops. And yes, it could be looked that way. But how it could be evil also when you look on the other side.
Yeah, like I said, I had it on mute for a second. Sorry about that. No, and when they cut me, and I said that it could be looked at also the same way for what America is doing to those other countries and ripping off resources. And, you know, they cut me. I said all of those things, but they cut that clip. They didn't put it up on Dr. Drew's Facebook and Twitter. They didn't put it up on the Headline News website as they were supposed to, because if it was up there would be so many people reaching out to me, and they didn't want to give a terrorist like me, a radical like me, a platform to thrive and grow, because they realized that I was very shrewd in how I moved, and I would milk it for all it's worth. You see? So that's the lesson. And again, like I said, I know how they do, but that helped to get more eyes on me. Now, there's so much. I'm going to leave soon, but I'm not going to leave right now. I'm still going to share some things, but I'm going to share links later on in the bottom of the description area. I did a video on Black identity extremists, right? And that's a term that the FBI coined for people like me, Black identity extremists. Well, who else am I supposed to identify as being a black man? What am I supposed to be, Chinese? What am I supposed to be, white? So many of us don't want to be who we are and speak out on it in a way that is healing to bring us back to an upright state of mind, that they want to demonize you when you undo all of the damage that they've done in your path. That's the bottom line. I've never softened up. I just learned how to be shrewd. When you heard me with Loretta Miller, I could have smashed her, made an argument, cussed her out and hung up, but I wanted her to show how they work and how they deflect. That's a lesson we need to know. They want us to get angry and upset. Let them throw their punches. Keep them at arm's distance. It won't hit you. Let them shoot their load. Let them punch themselves out. Let them verbally rope-a-dope. You know what I mean? And then you come and you smash them. That's why she had to run. But you're running for Congress and you called me. Then you turned around and got on Facebook, Twitter, and everything else, and made videos about me and said that I was running her down for an interview. When have you all known me to run some white person down, some Jewish person, same thing, down for an interview? Is she crazy? So she doxed me after that. She found out and researched where I lived and said that I was a terrorist and I hated Jews. She even said the exact bus route and what times I was driving it. What is she trying to get me killed? And then she said all these things about us, even went in on Mrs. SCURV's job and how much she got paid, which they got the number wrong, right? And how she's from Jamaica and she's illegal and this. I'm like, she really did this. You're running for Congress, but you took the time to smear me. And Jews all up and down Florida and beyond were watching me, which I don't care. You can watch all you want. You can step to me all you want. You know what you get if you step to me. So they had to come now, smear me and make people scared to talk to me. See? But the amount of work that I do and what I put out there, it keeps in circulation. You can shadow ban all the old stuff. You better just stay up all night long and earn your money, agents. I'll have you looking like a raccoon. You won't get no sleep. Hell, if I hardly get no sleep, I know you're not getting no sleep. You better work them double shifts to keep up with me. So that's what it's all about. So she put everything out on her website. Picture of the house. Different things. I started getting treatment in real life that was suspicious. Funny little cars parking down in the next street aimed at the house. Dead animals on the front lawn. Okay. All types of things placed at my front door. See, these are things that people don't even know about. This was years ago. And then you have these YouTubers out here. Yeah, man, I think the feds is watching me. Look, I don't harp on that. But I know this, and I'm going to say it again, what I said before. Department of Defense. There's a young lady who listens to the show and supports the show. She's been there for about 20 years. She wanted to get a higher position. And when you're in those agencies, they treat you like they don't know you. They can't, hey, just, okay, we got you. You want that job? No, they don't do it. They have to do a complete background investigation. And she told me this, right? I'm not going to say her name or nothing, right? But they said early on in the interview, one of the first questions, as always, why do you want this position? So why was the second question, why are you following this radical YouTuber? And she's like, what are you talking about? I follow a lot of people, listen to a lot of people. And so you got to tell me his name. And I'm telling the fast version. It was more that they asked her. But she didn't know because she follows a lot of people who talk like me, right? They said LANCESCURV. So you mean in the Department of Defense? You going to ask about little old me? But it's fraudulent to say that people are watching me? No, it's not. I don't harp on it. It doesn't scare me, and it never stopped me from talking the way I want to talk. Like I said, most people looking for attention are looking for status, sex, or money. I've gotten nothing from YouTube like that. There were times when I made a little money for a year and a half period, and it's down now. I showed you it was about $300 I get a month. Sister Oyala, you're here. Master Glam, you're here. You all saw that. I can't make that up. So why do they watch me? Now a radical person like me moves to Africa. We really got to watch him. So this is why they place people, pay them, house them, pay for their stuff, and erase their debts to be near me to watch. I can go deeper on this, but I'm going to shut up on that part because I'm watching them right on back. And if they come at me any kind of way or find themselves crossing the line over to my property, I'm going to really steamroll it and share it on video, not on YouTube because they're going to come at me with no charges, but I'll send it to you, let you see that this is something I live. The people who have come to destroy and brag that my platform is going to die and all this stuff, they're informants too. They're agents too. So be careful when people plagiarize verbally what other people say and put on the image and the costume and want to talk a certain way. This has been my life. It doesn't have me unraveled because I'm built for this. As a matter of fact, it's like a good sparring session in the gym. It gets you in shape. It keeps you on point, and I happen to love it. I love when you try to hit me because you won't. And if you do, I'll laugh. But when I hit you back, don't cry. Because this is what I do, and I ain't never going to stop doing it. And people say, oh, you ran to Africa because you were scared of what was going on over there. It never scared me. I talked even more radical. I'm a little more laid back now since I'm getting older, 60 years old, but not really. I'm chameleon-like. I can rip a Loretta Miller in 50 million pieces quickly. I could have done it that day, but I wanted people to see it was an exhibition. Because after the first hour, I said, something's wrong here. I know what this is all about. Okay, so that's what it was. So I want to play something else real short. Pope Leo X, who comes on the show. And see, look, I have no army. I have no, like, we're out there with guns and all. No. We are people who know the truth here in this chat room and who follow. And we're about the truth and doing what we have to do to ascend. We're very serious. They don't like that. I don't care if it was 1 million people or just 2 people. And I'm not a leader like that. Don't put me like that. I'm in the trenches with all of you. I'm listening to the ideas that you have. I just happen to have cultivated this platform and know how to do the graphics and the fancy stuff and make it look like something. But I am you and you are me. And we all may not agree on everything. But we understand that we're not monolithic, but we have the same enemy. And this is what that clarity of thought they don't like. There are many people who don't agree, who still follow and say, Lance, I agree with you in what you say to a point, but I love your spirit and not being fearful to say what you say. Because I've been in some funny situations where I feel and this is long before when I was out of corrections. They put me out, they fired me out of corrections. They used to watch me, MBI, all of that. I'm kind of putting this all in one package. I feel I need to, because there's some funny things going on right now. And I ain't scared. Show your face so I can smash it. That's how I get down. But I know when to be cool. And but yeah, let me just play this one video. It's only 10 minutes long. And it's a young lady speaking about what she saw during the video. And just let me know when you hear her voice that you hear her sound coming through clear. I'm going to have to share this. I almost forgot to do that. Okay, let me see. Just give me a second, y'all. Okay, hold on. All right, I got to get the right one. Okay, I got to stop screen with this one. Present this one. Yeah. And there's so much more that I can say. Oh God, there's so much more. Okay. Let's give me 10 seconds. We're going to get this thing going. All right. Here we go. Just let me know if the sound comes through good.
Who's the stalker? You know, giving your job position and what you do. And
Stop it.
I mean,
beginning.
That's crazy.
Let me stop it from the beginning. There's one button that I miss hitting. I'm so sorry about that. It was dead space for a while. Let's start from the beginning. Here you go.
Wow. I'm just really, I don't even know where to start. I just wanted you to know that I watched that video about the lady that's supposed to have been running for Congress or whatever. Oh my God, that's ooh. If I tell you I don't know what to say, I say to myself like, oh my God, who paid her? And she sounds like she's reading a script, and she just, I don't know. And I kept looking at her, and I was like, oh my God. So what she's doing, she's comparing you with, um, she's comparing you with the president. And I was like, oh no, she didn't. So to me, it sounds like, on my opinion, it sounds like she is the one that's stalking, because she was saying how she got a lot of your videos and how you supposed to you teach racism and this and that, and different than Trump the president. And I'm like, oh my God. And then she was saying she collected this from you, and you spoke this about Chinese, and I was like, so to me, it sounded like she took all that time to, you know, go on your show or your page and pull up different videos. And evidently she had to watch the videos in order to come up with whatever she's coming up with. And she's like, oh, the people that's following him is, and saying your full name as she say. And I laugh because the way she said, especially your last name. And I'm like, oh my God. So to me, you digging down, knowing the person first, middle name and last name. So who's the stalker? Giving your job position and what you do. And I mean, that's crazy. She's a stalker. She's psycho. Because how in the world you gonna, and then talking about your wife, your family, and this and that. And I looked at her and I was like, oh my God, I don't know where she came from, where she popped up from, who paid her, but she sounded like she was paid, you know? And I don't know her just by what, the video. She's, I don't know what she could be running for, because the way she's talking is like she was just like, I don't even have the word, like she's clueless, That's really crazy, the stuff that she was saying. And yeah, she sounded like she the one that's stalking. And she's talking about you, your brother-in-law. And I was like, oh my God, you got that much information? So who is the stalker, lady? And she sounded like the stalker. And she can't put nobody that watch your channel, me and none of the other followers that watch your channels, in the boat. You can't put a person that, just because someone, let's say the person that's following someone, you got to put them in the same boat. But you can't put somebody in the same boat, because before I even met you, I felt this way about white people. So she trying to call everybody that follow you a racist, but that's not true. Yeah, she's crazy. And she said no, she didn't even seem like she knew what she was talking about you making her popular now and putting her information out there. And she's thanking you for, she got so many viewers behind you, you know, I guess posting whatever about her, and everybody going on and watching it. How she got like thousands, and sound like she said thousands and thousands of viewers. So I'm like, oh wow. So yeah, she got issues. When I first saw her, I was like, oh my God, she looks really creepy, She looked really creepy and looked pale and plain, and this is nothing nobody's telling somebody to say or forcing somebody to say. I mean, just look at her, and how can you try to put somebody down that you don't know, unless, that's what you did. You evidently, she had to do some type of research on you, you know. And so you could tell it's nothing but a bunch of lies. So I'm like, well, even though I was one that watched it, the viewer, but she seemed like she's confused because she's saying she's a Jewish and this and that. And then she say something else, and I'm sitting up thinking, well, you know, the Jews killed Jesus supposedly, so in the Bible or whatever. So, and then she turned around and said something about white Africans. I'm not talking about black African. I'm talking about white Africans. I'm like, huh? What is she talking about? Oh man, this is good. That woman she's special for real. But anyway, keep doing what you're doing, brother. You know, you ain't doing nothing but, you know, speaking the truth, and they know that. So yes, they're gonna have to come out against you, and then, you know, try to make it seem like it's you. They always try to flip it. You know, when it's them, they try to flip it on you, but nobody's buying that. That's the story she got is you know, you can see straight through it. You know, all I can see is fakeness. You know, all I can see is like, you know, pretty much like somebody pays somebody to do something. But anyway, I'm not gonna stay on here talking about that. I'm surprised I watched the whole video because when I started watching it, I was like, ugh. I was finna get out of it, and I was like, well, let me finish watching and see what this lady's talking about. But you know, when you listen to her story, she's the, you know, she's the psycho, and you can tell. Because I'm like, well, she was looking and she was reading and looking up and act like she didn't know what she was saying and sound like she was reading something, and you know. But anyway, like I say, you know, that's what happened when anybody, whether it's a black sister or brother, speak the truth, word get out, people becoming, you know, conscious, eyes coming open. They can't stand that, you know. So yeah, they gotta try to put some lies out about a person to try to make somebody, but that's not gonna change anything about you. You know, all that's gonna do on it, the same thing is gonna pull people towards your channel because she put negative stuff out about you, so they gonna go to your channel like, okay, let me see what he's talking about. Let me see what she's saying about him is true. So that's gonna pull people on your channel. So I don't know, crazy, crazy, crazy. But anyway, like I say, keep doing what you're doing, keep spitting the truth, you know, because what you don't know, you have been a great help, you know. And the part it didn't tickle me, but I did laugh for a second when she said you was a terrorist, and I was like, what? Where in the hell did she get that from? Oh my God. I mean, people can't speak, you know, what's on their mind, speak the truth, you know, speak how they feel, or say something positive to try to help people, to open people's eyes without them being, as they say, you know, racist, you know. But the thing is, they have to look at, you know, look what all they done to in the past. She's saying she's not a racist, but you can look at her and tell she is, you know. And look what they did to our ancestors, you know, for years and years and years, you know. And now they just want everybody, oh, just, you know, kumbaya, forgive, you know, forgive. You know, when black men and women and even turning towards the kids is you know, they taking it out on our children, you know. And that's the sad part. And it's a sad part, not just because they're taking it out on children, it's because you're taking it out on the black woman, the black man, and now you're taking it out on the kids, the children. So what is that telling? What is that telling our race of people? You know, they are the one that's racist, and they've been like that from the beginning. Ain't nothing gonna ever change, never. So with that being said, keep your head up, keep spitting the great knowledge that you know you're teaching, and let's just continue to move forward. One love.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LANCESCURV.com and follow SCURV on
Okay, let me remove this. Okay, let me know if the sound is good. I'm trying hard to get the video of her where you could see her face saying these things. It was so much, but it was like, okay, let me run this down here. Let me just make sure if you can hear me. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's, and this is just one of many. And I'm actually trying to scroll down on her Twitter page, but it won't go beyond. It's like the time that she was harassing me in 2018, her thing only goes back to April 18th, 2019. And I know that still in that time, she kept doing stuff. I don't know, when a person dies, maybe they just like let it go back to a certain point if it's not active, but she would, she did it a whole lot right after that interview. And then it kind of petered off where she would do something once every week, once every 2 weeks, and put out the same information. I'm actually looking for her website if I could find it. I don't know if it's still up, because unless it was a free one, if it's something to pay, then it's not going to be up anymore. Okay, let me see here. This might be it. Okay, this site can't be reached. Okay, they didn't pay their bill. The site can't be reached, but I'll find something later on, put it in the community section. Let me see in the media. Okay, no, let me see. It won't let me open this up. Huh, really strange. Anyway, I'll show you her actual page. Give me a second here. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to play the other video that reveals a lot about her. I'm not picking on one aspect of it. There's a whole lot, because I can go there, you know, but let me show her page here. Okay, I'm going to remove this banner so you can see what her, how appealing or unappealing, if you want to say. You running for Congress and you running me down. You know, and what I'm going to play for you is going to really open up your eyes. Like I said before, okay, here are her photos. Maybe, did she put up photos of me? Let me see something. Remember, this only went back but so far. So you should be able to see this. Not that it's anything important, but yeah, that's her. You should be running for Congress. Why are you focusing on me? So now I'm going to play this last video, just the first few minutes of it. I mean, it's an hour and 15 minutes long, but I'm not going to stretch it out like that, because most of the important stuff was said early on. So let's get this together here. Hold on. Let me play this one. It's the only one left. And there's some things that I'm going to share on a conference call, maybe tonight. Okay, let me see. This should be it. No, that's not it. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, all right, we should be ready now. Hold tight, family. Let's open this up. Okay, let's share this. Okay, it's there. Let me maximize it, and we're going to play this. Let me open this up. Thanks for your patience. A lot of buttons to click. You'll hear it right now. Let me know if you can hear this now. Here we go.
You are now listening to the LANCESCURV Show, the boldest spot on internet radio.
I just was amazed by Mrs. Miller when I saw it popped up on the on your site yesterday. So I heard the name before, but I wanted to get some more insight into who this woman really was. And she has a very extensive military background as far as Zionism is concerned. And Zionism is basically that the Jews believe that they are the chosen ones and everyone else is their footsteps, whether it's blacks or the whites or the Arabs at this time. But Loretta has like I say, an extensive military background through the IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Force. She was a military intelligence officer from 1972 to 2003. That's over 30 years of military intelligence. And in 1972, she was assigned by Golda Meir, who was the prime minister, to bring back during the problem during the Berlin Olympics. She was assigned to bring back the deceased Israelis or Jews from that Olympic. She was involved. I think she's an intelligence officer. She was involved in the Yom Kippur War. That was in 1973. She was 23 years old. She was born in 1950. In 1982, she was also involved in the first Lebanese war as an intelligence officer. She was an advisor. She was an advisor to 3 Israeli prime ministers. The first one I named already was Golda Meir. She was an advisor to her from 1972 to 1974. And then she was an advisor to Simon Peres. These are Jews who, if people don't know their name, they're Jews, they're prime ministers of the state of Israel, or shall I say the stolen state of Israel, from 1983 to 1984 under Simon Peres. And then she was, I believe this other prime minister was assassinated, if I'm not sure. His name was Edwin Barak, from 1999 to 2001. I believe he was. I believe that one was assassinated by a Jewish fanatic. But these are this is the type person, this is the type military background this lady has. And she's not really. She don't seem that. I don't see anything she's doing for America. She seems to be a foreign agent. Because all her military background is none with the United States. It's all over there in the Middle East. She's whatever philanthropy she has it. That she has extensive philanthropy. She has a life. Well, I guess she's concerned about pets. She's a lifetime member of ASPCA. I don't know how that correlates with her intelligence. Now I guess she's concerned with pets now. But being an intelligence officer, there must have been some killings going on, or at least spying of some sort by her. You know what I mean? But now she's trying to become a candidate, and people, and black people mainly, and people in general should be very aware, or should be very cautious or skeptical about this woman, because she seems like she wants to put that history behind, and or maybe she is proud of the fact that she was a intelligence officer, but she didn't do any intelligence for, like I said, for the United States. Her whole history is basically for the state of Israel. So basically, that's all I wanted to say about Loretta Miller.
Right.
She's playing up to being a nicey lady with her philanthropy with the ASPCA. But she's, like I say, she's a intelligence officer. So I just would like people to be aware and try to look up some more information on her, because I don't know how many skeletons she may have under her you know,
Right.
how many, you know, she has in her closet. So you have to be cautious of what people say, what they put out there, because she seemed like she lives in a glass house, and she shouldn't be throwing stones at anyone, you know, with her record.
Right. And if you could find this publicly, could you imagine what has been hidden?
Oh yeah,
Because she is an intelligence officer.
And this was readily available.
Right.
And here she's posing with. It seemed like this guy is a Purple Heart. He's a U.S. military, but she's posing with him. But she, you know, there's no connection as far as her military U.S. She's military Israel.
Right.
You know, either she has a dual citizenship, you know.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that.
I don't know.
You know,
I don't. You know, when blacks, we separate ourselves from, you know, if we're Haitian black, you know, American black or African black, but you could see this her pattern. She even though she probably claims U.S. citizenship, but she seemed like she did nothing for America. She did everything for her true country, which is Israel. And if anyone tries to if it was a choice between America and Israel, I'm quite sure she's going to be on the side of Israel. So this lady is really a double agent, you know. So you have to be very, very watchful of her and her desire to be a congresswoman. We have to know who we're putting into office and what they're going to do for us. And their promise, she has a list of promises. She promised everything, but she's not, like I say, she's not a true American, you know.
And even on that note, for someone to seek such a position, yet they're not a true American as far as their desires, which we know how I stand on a lot of things, but I'm not going to hate on anybody because of their stance. If they're looking for a better life, if they're looking to do their job and improve, I'm just not a political guy. But with her background and how she will twist words around, and she has these mental issues to be in denial about the needs of other people, is this what you really want? And I have to question anyone who is black who stands by her. Either they didn't do their research or they're looking for something for themselves on a boule level to keep us in captivity. So this runs deeper than I thought, because if she can say and do the doxing that she did, in the cyberbullying that she did, and she's so deep in it, who else is working with her? Because she took a lot of time.
She has a post right here where she has a military rifle, and she seems like she's proud of whatever she's shooting at. You know what I mean? She's posting with a military rifle, just like you know, the so-called white right. They'll post with a military rifle and their Confederate flag. But this lady here is posting a picture of herself at a younger age, of course, with a military rifle. Like I said, I don't know how many skeletons she has in her closet. And this is just a basic 15-minute search, and I was able to pull this up. So we have to look at this lady, or anyone who posts anything contrary to what black people want to do.
Yes. And it's across all social media. The more I dig, the more I find as far as that's concerned, because, you know, from the social media angle, that's where I kind of did my searches, but I didn't do any searches as deep as you. And I'm quite sure, since she is as deep as an intelligence officer for Israel, let's call it for what it is. Because like you said, what is her track record here in America? And for those who may not believe in my stances toward things, still, you have to ask yourself that question, because if you go against her as far as your ideology, then she's going to come after you. But it's an invert compliment that you would come after me and Brother Keston, even though I don't want that type of activity. But we are at risk now because there are other people out there who may not be as balanced, who may see us as a threat because we love our people also, and we want to uplift them. And once they look at us and see that we're not doing this for any monetary gain, we're not doing this for any fame, we got to be leery about who else might come around, because if she wanted to infiltrate what we're doing, she's not going to send, or they're not going to have anybody come through that doesn't look like us, because it's going to look funny. So they're going to send people that look like us and take the long road to working against us. And I've been warned on many different tactics and levels that I need to be leery on. And so we've got to revamp and look at everybody who is so gung-ho to come around. And I'm not saying the general people, but there are individuals, countless right now, they're coming, but some are very suspect, very, very suspect. So I got to look at all of this stuff. And I really, to get in the inner circle, we got to get background checks on all those people who, I need to see licenses. And we know those things can be tampered with, but I need to see something where you're revealing something about yourself if I'm going to open myself up. The relationship I have with you, brother, there's no question and there's no doubt, because it evolved over time. But these other people who will make the trip and come down and I want to do this and that, and this is
like
deeper than what most think.
They're bandwagon. I call them bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm gonna okay, let's go off by now. All right. Just let me know if the sound is coming through now. Just always got to make sure and check that. There's so much more I can. Scrooge Greedy, what's going on, my brother? And Riri. There's so much more that I can share. It's just so deep. And there's a point where there's a mysterious end of the road that's kind of foggy. So you never really know. Again, I'm no threat to anybody. I'm just a threat to the hold that they have on us and the things that I say. If I did or had anything planned as somebody who was some entity who wanted to bring damage to anybody, they would have already visited me. But they don't like the things that I say. They don't like the exposure that I continue to share with those who may not have a voice on another platform. And it's not complaining. This is stuff I already know. It doesn't bother me. I move forward with fear, without fear, not with fear, without fear. And that's what bothers them, that, like, why am I doing this at this particular age and junction point in my life? Like, I should be just looking to, just lay back and enjoy life and have a few secret women around to go screw around with. Look, they can, this is what I'm all about. And maybe I'm rare, I don't know, but they do have stuff on other people, and YouTube is used to influence people. And they put people out there that look like us to influence people, and they're not influencing me in any kind of way, because I'm going to tell it like it is. I know what my life was all about. I know the life I've lived. I'm very transparent about that. I joke about it sometime, but you ain't going to put nothing on me that don't belong on me, and I'm going to tell it all. And also what I'm going to do, and I'm putting it out there, I'm going to soon do a tell-all video of everything that I have been through, naming names, people, places, things, agencies. I'm going to work on that right now. Not right now, this very moment, but I'm going to upload it to be premiered a month ahead of time. It's like today, if I make it, it'll come out next month. Right before next month comes, if I'm still alive, I'll push it back a month. So if something happens to me, everything that's been done to me, people, places, things, personal life, everything's getting put. Nobody's going to get away with lies on me. From professional to personal, I'm going to put it out there raw with proof, because I know if something happens to me, people are going to try to gloss it over. Oh no, we were getting along just fine. No. And I will continue to add to that and upgrade it. So if and when that day comes, and maybe 20 years from now, 40 years from now, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, but it's going to reveal all. And there's going to be a whole lot of people who are going to be mad at me, going to be crying. They can't tell no lies because it's me telling it. That's what I'm going to do, because That's how they operate with falsehoods. Even when you transition, they come with some stuff. They'll even have people, you know, in your circles coming with stuff, in your family coming with stuff. You know what I mean? You're not getting away, because I'm going to share it all. Because these people, they're people in my life, personally and professionally. I am just so surprised how they act. And I'm just really, really surprised, you know, and I'm going to reveal all. I'm talking about all, every bit. I just don't look, if a person don't give a damn about me in this life, I don't give a damn about them. We'll continue to waltz and act like everything. I'm telling it. That's my final revenge. You can't treat me good in life. Don't think you're going to smooth it over in transition. Anyway, I'm going to run. I want to talk about this a little more later on. We had the power outage last night, so I said, let me just come on early to make up for that. And I will come on with a short one, probably about an hour or so, continuing probably this talk, or maybe venturing off into something else, and maybe doing a confidential chat, a conference line call after that. And that'll go down deep into these things, and I could really speak on. Yeah, so if you think that agents haven't been on me, there's a whole bunch more. There's some here in Ghana. There's some that live real close to me. I know what it's all about. Like we said in the beginning, we know how they work, right? And the 2 points again for the future. And I don't mean like the future far away, but my immediate future. What I will say about those immediate, very close agents who want to live together as one with you. Let me just read this thing on 2 points that I'm watching now. And I already know it, but I just want to put it out there. Again, I read that list in the beginning. Those 6 things, I'm going to read 2 of them. Okay. All right. I'm going to read the first paragraph before that, the first few sentences. The Federal Bureau of Investigation employs various strategies to recruit informants and gather information on targeted groups and individuals. While the specific techniques and methods may vary, here are some common approaches used by the FBI. It's number 1 and number 5 that I want to read from. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop this actual link that's off the website before I go. I'm going to drop it right here. And I want you to leave your comments on the site, because YouTube will erase comments. They'll keep them from being seen. On this particular page, this link right here is the link to this show. But we have the chat room under the video. That's not the comment section. You have to go to this page and scroll all the way down to the comment section and leave your feelings on that and your thoughts. I'd like to get a few comments there if you can. But let me read this and then I'm going to go. I'm right on the site right now. Number 1, confidential informants. The FBI often, what does it say here? Oh, relies on, something on my screen. The FBI often relies on confidential informants who provide information on criminal activities. And I'm going to say that it's not just that. It's people they're interested in. Why did this guy go to Africa? Why did he move to Africa? You know what? We're going to pay your trip out to Africa. And if we have to pay your way to Africa, we'll relieve you of all that money that you owe just to watch him. That confidential informants can be individuals who have inside knowledge of a targeted group or individuals involved in criminal activities. The FBI establishes relationships with them and uses their information to further investigations. Now, here's number 5. Exploiting vulnerabilities. The FBI may identify individuals within targeted groups who are vulnerable, such as those facing legal troubles or seeking protection. By leveraging these vulnerabilities, the FBI can convince them to provide information in exchange for their leniency or other benefits. Okay? It's not just criminal things they're facing. They may owe a large sum of money somewhere. It's okay. All right. You there? Well, we're going to pay your way. We're going to take care to sit there and watch and bring back information, because a dude like Lance coming out to Africa, we got to watch him because of the way he's talking. Who does he know? Who is he talking to? So they will finance people to live abroad to give information and work their way into your lives. That's why when you see these people around you, you got to chase them away. You got to let them know who they are. Go back to where you came from, to who's paying you. You ain't going to get no information out of me to use against me. Don't try to be my friend. Don't try to come and whatever. No, I watch all of that. If you want to call me paranoid, call me paranoid. Once I realized all these things and somebody had called me and got me hip to certain things, I'm not saying nothing to nobody out here. But guess what? Them little bastards, they better stay away from me. And I hope you all are listening, the ones who are. Because it's a very serious thing. You're not there to be my friend. You're not there to build me up. You're not there to whatever. You want to act like you down or whatever, you know? You ain't coming through me. You're best to try Mr. SCURV, but you ain't going to come through me. It ain't going to happen. So you just messed up because I know who you are. It's very current right now for me, right? So it never changes. But you know what? Again, I'm not better than anybody because I grew up in New York City, but I'm proud of my New York City pedigree and to have been aware of these things from single-digit ages. You know, there was a reason why I've been exposed to the things I've been exposed to, and it's transparent to me. Even if other people can't see it and think, oh, they're our friends and you, them people ain't our friends. They are enemies. They work for the enemy. And there's a lot of them out here listening. So now I issued the challenge. Now you step forward and do what you got to do because I don't give a damn. All right. So listen, I'm finishing up now. I got to make a run. I love you all. And I will talk to you later on today. Right. We'll do something later on. And it won't be long, you know, because I got a good sleep on last night. And like I said, it was a good one. It was a good one. So let me play this music and we're out of here. Much love. Peace.
I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm trying to do more for the soul.